Hey guys, just doing a live stream about politics, which ironically I don't really like doing these. I really am sincere when I say I want to move beyond politics, but it doesn't seem possible. Every couple weeks something else happens. I was actually just at the State House in Concord here in New Hampshire, and Defend the Guard was being brought to committee and then being voted on whether or not it was going to be sent to the House next. And it passed committee, so it's going to the House. I think on the 3rd, they're going to be voting on it in the House. And this is the first political thing I've gone to in a while, but frankly, it's one of the only things I really care about at this point anymore. And it was amazing to me to see how little we've changed over the last 20 years by hearing some of the testimonies and some of the things that some of the people opposing the legislation had to say. There were people from different organizations who came forward who were obviously funded or influenced by the Pentagon in some way, and the things they were saying are sentiments we would have heard back in 2003. And the Dick Cheney-like takes that I've heard haven't been limited to that room. Over the last week, I've just been amazed at people just straight up calling for the genocide of 2 million people, just ready to wipe them off the face of the earth. I'm one of the people who has said for a while that I think a lot of libertarians and anti-war people have been overestimating the amount that Republicans have changed in their sentiments toward war. It's kind of like how the left opposed the Iraq war, the right has somewhat opposed the Ukraine war, but it's because it's in their mind it's Biden's war, it's a left-wing war. But obviously when it comes to Israel, they're ready to send all the money, all the tanks, all the soldiers, whatever it takes. But even I've been surprised at the absolute bloodlust over the last several days. It's just absolutely sickening. And the amount of propaganda that people are just instantly falling for without asking any questions. Like we saw with the war in Ukraine, the Snake Island story, the Ghost of Kiev story, the massacre, I forget what town it was supposedly in, that was just completely fake. We're having lots of those types of stories pop up now about what Hamas is doing. And don't get me wrong, Hamas can be barbaric. I'm completely understanding of that. But just once you hear a story about 40 decapitated babies in cribs and your first impulse is just to believe it instead of waiting for more evidence to actually come out, then you just haven't learned anything over the last couple years. And there's some ugliness from the other side too. I've seen a little bit of it, but it's not backed up by the media apparatus and, popular opinion that the pro-Israeli side is. There are some people who I've seen kind of jeering at the Israelis, you got what you deserved or whatever. And this is something I've had an issue with a lot of not Democrats, but true leftists. True leftists who kind of take Putin's side in the war in Ukraine. And I don't mean I'll explain what I mean. They use the term justified a lot. And I don't think that that's a term you should ever use when you're talking about civilians getting murdered. I don't think 9/11 was justified. The people in New York who died in those buildings, they weren't invading in the Middle East. They weren't dropping bombs. They didn't deserve to die. They were murdered by Al-Qaeda. But in my mind, this isn't a question of what's justified or not. It's a question of why are these things happening? Why did 9/11 happen? Why would Hamas make this attack against the Israelis? Why would Putin invade Ukraine? Why would Xi Jinping want to make a move on Taiwan? Why would these people want to be doing these things? We shouldn't be asking, is it okay? Is it morally correct that they're doing it? That's not really the question on the table. The question is, why would they be doing this? And what can we do about it? And, I've seen a lot of people talking about how there's probably dozens of Hamas sleeper cells inside the United States at this point or whatever, and that we're going to have another terrorist attack. Well, if you want another terrorist attack, the best move would be to send U.S. troops into Gaza right now. Because every fucking time we have a terrorist attack, every manifesto that goes along with any of these terrorists, if you read them, they all have a common theme, and none of them have to do with our moral structure in the United States. They don't have to do with allowing gay people to get married or women to wear bikinis or that we eat apple pie and watch TV. Like, it has nothing to do with that. Whether it's Osama bin Laden's fatwa in 1998, whether it's the Boston Marathon bomber, the Pulse nightclub shooter, all of these manifestos, they all have the common theme that they're upset that we are in their countries, that our troops are where they don't belong. Not a single manifesto that's ever come out from a terrorist attack has been, oh, you guys weren't paying attention to us. Ha ha, you guys were minding your own business and let us build up our strength and attack you. And it never has anything to do with our freedoms or any of the things I listed before. It's always, you guys are fucking with stuff that doesn't have anything to do with you. Stay the fuck away. So, people on the right, for the most part, are just freaking out that we're going to have dozens of terrorist attacks in the coming months and years. Well, the best move to get them would be moving on Gaza with American troops. That is how you're going to get more terrorist attacks. That's how it's happened historically. That's how it would happen in the future. So I don't know. I'm saying stuff that you guys already know. But it's just really exasperating. I thought we'd gotten a little bit better. I'm going to be honest. I thought people had learned a little bit over the last couple decades, but it really doesn't seem that way. It's just got to be the right recipe, the right war, the right enemy, and everyone's going to line up behind it again. So I don't know. I don't really know what to say. I'm just really disheartened and upset. And when I've done episodes on this show before, I've wondered how much of it is just for my own conscience and feeling like I'm trying to speak to the issues at the time so that I feel like I did something, versus how much I actually think I'm changing other people's minds. And I have changed some people's minds here and there, but as I've said before, like, even if you change thousands of people's minds, this is something that we just, like, it seems like there's nothing we can do. It just doesn't matter. The next thing comes along and everybody falls for it. Someone down here said Reed was reawakened. Love to see it. I haven't been posting on Twitter very much. I don't have it on my phone anymore. And on my computer, I posted a bit this weekend, and I was getting thousands of retweets and likes and generating all sorts of attention, which I haven't done for a while. And I sort of made a joke like, wow, guys, just put some Israel in the news. That's a way to get Reed back on Twitter again. As you guys know, it's something I've talked a lot about on this show in the past, and it is something that's always kind of important but not relevant in people's minds, because when people think about the war in Syria or the war in Iraq, they don't make a direct link to Israel, even though there is one. They don't think of that. But now it's literally, the conversation on the table is literally fighting a war, not just for Israel, but in Israel. And so a lot of the things that I've talked about on this show in the past are becoming more and more important. And a lot of people just don't know the basic outline of what's going on. They don't understand that there's still people who are alive today who were evicted from their homes 75 years ago, and have been pushed into these tiny strips of land, and then just had more and more and more land taken from them, more and more bombs dropped on them, had their kids shot right in front of them, been starved, had their water supply have concrete poured on top of it. a lot of people just don't know that. In a lot of people's minds, the Israelis are just trying to mind their own business and, you know, have a place in the world where Jews aren't persecuted. And for some reason, these evil, godless Muslims just keep attacking them. And even this idea that we're somehow making them tie one hand behind their back and not letting them eliminate a threat, it's just total bullshit. I mean, Israel helped create Hamas, a lot like how we helped create Al-Qaeda. It's almost like they need this boogeyman for them to keep constantly fighting so they can annex more and more land. Just like we always need Al-Qaeda in order to, you know, keep fighting a new war on terror every couple of years. A lot of people just don't know this stuff. And so if you can just try to tell people about it, you know, don't be extremely judgmental toward people who don't understand, because why would they understand? Like the media doesn't represent any of this in an honest way. So I don't know. I think if you do know about the U.S.-Israeli relationship over the last several decades, about the forming of Israel, about Israel's tie to our foreign policy, how the clean break was written in the 90s and was a strategy outlined to secure the realm for Israel and remove Saddam Hussein from power and contain Syria. You know, a lot of this stuff, people just don't realize. A lot of it I didn't know until a few years ago. Even when I was a libertarian, even when I was like pretty skeptical of the wars, I didn't realize like how deep a lot of these ties go. So I don't know. I mean, I've already got plenty of videos on this stuff that you can go back. The Four Horsemen, we talk about it a lot. I've talked about it with Scott Horton, talked about it with, you know, lots of different people. And you can go back and share the videos around if you want. Or it doesn't have to be my stuff. Lots of people in my circles have talked about this stuff. Like, if it comes up in small talk, you know, just talk to your friends about it. I'm just amazed at how brainwashed everything is. Everybody is, you know, like nothing seems to have changed. But I don't know. That's all I really got to say. I have the day off because I went to the State House and I was going to register this vehicle I'm in right now, but the town hall is closed today until Friday. And this is the only day I have off this week, and the town hall is closed when I get out of work. So if I get pulled over, I'm just going to tell the cop, I don't know what to tell you, man. The town hall's closed. So, I don't know. I've got some errands I got to run, and I will be finishing my day off with that. I'm supposed to go on the Stu Peters show, I think tomorrow maybe. They wanted me on today, and that was going to work out well because of the day off, but then they rescheduled, and apparently I'm going to try to go on tomorrow. I don't really know a lot about him. I know he's like the producer for the Died Suddenly documentary or whatever. But they want to have me on, so I said sure. Hopefully next time I'm talking to you guys, it's about something a little less political and less disheartening, but I just had to weigh in because, man, it really is disheartening how far we haven't come. All right, guys, take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. I'll catch you later.